Learning outcomes. After studying this module, you shall be able to understand the concept of leadership from within, analyze the difference between leadership from within and leadership without, appreciate the steps of leadership from within, understand the managerial implications for the leadership from within. Introduction. Leadership from within is a concept which talks about how a leader inculcates self-values and self-commandments within himself. A leader who practices leadership from within inspires others by actually doing these things or exercising those acts or following those commandments which he actually wants his followers to enact. It is something which is similar to walking the talk instead of giving orders to subordinates as to how things should be. There are certain situations when it is best for a leader to showcase the actual work and then assign the works to the subordinates. In such situations, a leader should be more than ready to cater to the task in hand and in the process gain appreciation from the subordinates too. Leadership from within is something which is not inherent. It has to be developed by the leader. It is also true in the same sense that any person can develop leadership from within. There are no specific requirements to become leader per se. Leadership is not just directing and inspiring other people. It is equally concerned about how taking the lead in one's own life. This requires a person to know his own personal values. In order to meet this objective, it would be wise for a person in general and a leader in particular to reflect on their inner self, investigating discovering what is of importance to a person, and such things must be allocated time and focus. And the whole exercise basically leads a person to discover his own self. Leadership from within is a concept which also talks about having a vision for the future. Envisioning is a very important trait of a leader. It is the ability of the person to foresee things. Every invention, be it related to business, science, or a product, tells a story about someone envisioning the future. In the same stead, leaders would do well to envision themselves as someone they want to become. Further, it is imperative for every leader to take moderate risks. Taking small and steady actions coupled with prompt decision making are the ideal ingredient of a successful venture. Just as having a long-term vision is a prerequisite in developing leadership from within, in the same stead, having those visions and thoughts communicated at the opportune time to the appropriate audience is also a must-have. Communicating effectively is the essence of a good leader. It minimizes any discrepancy. In order to develop leadership from within, it is imperative to free one's mind. For this, the person can pen down thoughts or speak up at important meetings. Difference between leadership from within and leadership from without. Leadership from within is different from leadership from without in many aspects. Firstly, in leadership from within, leaders do what they say, whereas leaders from without say something to followers and they themselves act accordingly or differently as per their comfort level. Also, leaders from within win the hearts and trust of followers to get the work done, whereas leaders from without get the work done through fear and control over followers. Secondly, leaders from within share their power with subordinates and empowers them, whereas leaders from without don't like to share their powers. Thirdly, leaders from within motivates subordinates, invite and encourages them to give ideas, whereas leaders from without order the subordinates what to do or what not to do. Fourthly, leaders from within are caring for their people, set reasonable deadlines for work, whereas leaders from without don't value feelings and emotions and set unrealistic deadlines by creating fear among subordinates. Lastly, leaders from within are motivated internally, that is, by values and principles, whereas leaders from without are motivated externally by fame, power and money. Bender in 1997. Steps of leadership from within. Discovery of self. People learn those things which have been taught to them in the society daily. This learning affects their behavior on routine basis. They follow these beliefs of the society without analyzing it or without applying their mind. To follow the practice of leadership from within, one is required to discover himself or herself by forgetting what all have been taught to him or her. One needs to have freedom from the known facts. One has to forget everything he/she has learnt about the facts till date. One has to be free from the authority of self and others. One has to forget all the things about himself or herself, all the things he or she has thought about himself or herself. One has to work on things as a new start in a way as if he or she doesn't know anything. After the freedom from all the known facts, one needs to relearn about himself or herself. He or she must understand that he or she is required to learn about the self, not because someone has told to do so, but she has to do so to attain the knowledge about self. They are required to acquire the knowledge of their past and learn from their present. Once they will do that and have clarity of what they are doing, then only they can succeed in their life. They can learn by observing things, its nature and its movements. Also, to observe things, one is required to have a free mind. After observing, they need to evaluate that purpose of the happenings of the things and need to be aware of the environment. After discovering the truth, the real life and the awareness, karma yoga automatically follows in one's life. Karma yoga. Kri is a Sanskrit word which means to do. Explains the word karma. It is yoga of moral attempt, selfless work, nishkam karma. Nishkam karma, detached involvement, in the contradiction of the presiding principle of sakam karma, selfish, greediness, attached involvement, is the novel expression for egoless work. Nishkam karma or egoless work is a systematically inside out and freedom yielding path which is different from the sakam karma or outside and dominating path. If nishkam karma is inspiration, then sakam karma is the motivation. Chakrabarti in 1995 explains the difference between the two in a way that sakam karma leads to physical burnout, whereas nishkam karma leads to psychological energy conservation. Sakam karma is a reward-based commitment whose aim is success only, but nishkam karma is work commitment whose aim is to achieve the perfection. Sakam karma is an erratic action which is dependent on the praise, whereas nishkam karma is a steady action which enriches the mind. One who follows the principles of sakam yoga gets alienated viyog from the transcendent higher self. But if one follows the principle of Nishkam Yoga, then he or she gets aligned, that is yoga, with the transcendent higher self. Vision, courage, willpower and initiative. Vision refers to the mental image of the future. It is an impression of the possible things which has not happened yet. Three types of visions are there, which are as follows. Probable future. Probable future tells if one continues as then, what can be expected to happen in the future. Desired future. Desired future refers to what one wants to happen in the future as per the desire. Catastrophic future. Catastrophic future explains if something had happened or worse situation arises, then what will happen in the future. A leader should have all the three of visions discussed above. A leader should have the vision of seeing where the organization is heading, where he/she wants the organization to be, and preparing the organization for worse situation or avoiding the worst situations in the future. Courage refers to the power that the human beings possess for dealing with the danger, pain, fear, etc. It is considered to be most valuable asset in the society. A leader is called courageous when he/she makes the decision for the organization, as making decision is considered to be the most difficult task for a leader because it involves risk taking as well. A successful leader should have both the physical and moral courage. Willpower refers to the ability of a person to control his or her thoughts and actions. It is recommended for all the leaders to have this quality to become successful. In mostly outstanding leaders, this quality has been found. SWAYAMPRABHA 1993 says, willpower is the king of all faculties. It is the source of all others' faculties. A good leader should have the willpower to do things despite of the setbacks in the work. Initiative refers to the ability to assess the environment and initiate actions accordingly. It works as a stimuli because of which leaders take action on time. Adapt new methods of working. It is suggested for leaders to have this kind of quality in order to become a great leader. A leader who initiates things always remains 2 steps ahead of the events as he/she takes initiatives forehand. Those who don't take initiatives keep on waiting for the happening of the events, whereas those who take initiative make the events happen. All the qualities discussed above are very important for a leader. If a leader is having vision, courage, willpower and initiative, then no one can stop him or her in becoming a great leader. But apart from the qualities mentioned, a leader needs the group of followers as well. Without the followers, there is no importance of the leader. Trust people and empower them. Empowerment refers to the expansion of one's capabilities, which includes widening of the choices and thereby increasing the freedom. It means every person of the organization should be able to control their destiny and realize their potential. It requires the leaders to give more power to the followers who were having less power to take their decision. A leader should encourage the followers to participate in activities in order to develop them. The objectives of empowerment are to let the people feel good about themselves, to let them give respect to each other, and to facilitate them with the sufficient resources so that they contribute in the maximum possible way for their work. Generally, empowerment has 2 aspects. One is to develop the individuals by expanding their capabilities, and another is to liberate the individuals by giving them more autonomy for their actions and decisions. Though empowerment is considered to be a more important tool, but it should be used very carefully with immature people who cannot handle it. Otherwise, it can lead to the failure. In such scenario, a leader should have some monitoring mechanisms, measuring progress and understanding success. It is not guaranteed that we get success immediately. It may take few days, weeks, months, years, or maybe decades to get success. When it takes lots of time to achieve success, then it is required for a great leader to understand it and to measure the progress. Progress can be measured by analyzing where we were and where we have reached. A successful leader needs to have that much capability or skills to measure the progress of the team. The attitude and action of each team members leads to the result of the task. Success is achieved when the team reaches its destination or meets the end goal. A leader should be capable of measuring both the hard-won and soft results. Hard results refer to the result in terms of numbers and rupees, whereas soft results refer to the result in terms of morale, spirit and satisfaction. A leader should have the skills to assess the results. Also, a leader should understand that there are few things which cannot be measured, yet these things play a vital role in becoming a good leader. These are happiness, friendship, time for enjoyment, emotions, etc. By ignoring these things, a leader may commit mistakes in his work. It is very difficult to define what success is, as it is very subjective and personal perspective of each individual. According to some people, success is achieving the targets, whereas some explains it to be enjoyment of the work. It is basically dependent upon the results which one seeks. A leader should understand the meaning of success from each and every individual's point of view. Let us summarize. A leadership from within is a concept which talks about how a leader inculcates self-values and self-commandments within himself. Leadership from within is something which is not inherent. It has to be developed by the leader. Communicating effectively is the essence of a good leader. It minimizes any discrepancy. Leaders from within win the hearts and trust of followers to get the work done, whereas leaders from without get the work done through fear and control over followers. To follow the practice of leadership from within, one is required to discover himself or herself by forgetting what all have been taught to him or her. One who follows the principles of Sakam Yoga gets alienated, Viyog, from the transcendent higher self. But if one follows the principles of Nishkam Yoga, then he or she gets allied, Yoga, with the transcendent higher self. If a leader is having vision, courage, willpower and initiative, then no one can stop him/her in becoming a great leader. A leader should encourage the followers to take participation in activities in order to develop them. A successful leader needs to have that much capability or skills to measure the progress of the team. Leadership from within is an approach which considers the holistic perspectives. It values human life and considers all aspects of the human existence. Leadership from within is an approach which considers the holistic perspectives. It values human life and considers all the aspects of human existence. To develop the practice of leadership from within, one needs to develop his or her potential capabilities and should respect everyone. A leader, in order to practice leadership from within, should be first of all able to differentiate it with leadership from without. A leader needs to discover himself or herself, should follow the path of karma, willpower and initiative quality to take up the challenges, should always empower his or her followers for their development, and should have the skills to understand and measure the success. If every leader follows the above mentioned steps, then they will be following the approach of leadership from within, consequently leading to desired implications. Leadership from within is the best way to reach the ultimate end goal of humanity.